Welcome to Sports on Tap. We are here at Mike's Beer Bar across from PNC Park. I'm Chris Carter, here with Hunter Homestad. Hunter, always good to do some Sports on Tap with you, buddy.
Awesome to see you, man. And I like that was like the smooth jazz Carter intro. It wasn't like the high peak, but that was like sultry.
You know, I play some smooth jazz, but let's talk about smooth. This place, gotta love it. 500 beers to pick from.
Unreal.
80 on tap, 50 at least local. This is one of the best places in all of Western Pennsylvania. Not just Pittsburgh.
It really is.
But Western Pennsylvania to come and enjoy some good beers. And we've got a great selection in front of us today.
A selection starting with Maddie. I am so sorry. This is just for you, buddy.
Sunday.
I'm sorry. I swear. I did not tell them to put this beer on this flight. Trogs Mad Elf. I'm sorry. It's literally Maddie's favorite beer on earth. He talks about this all the time. 11%. I'm a South Central PA guy, actually, and Trogs is up in Hershey.
Yes.
So I've actually been there quite a few times. That was like the closest brewery to my house because I live in the middle of nowhere.
Okay,
so
I've always dug Trogs. I mean, this is 11%.
Yeah.
11% here. It says a cheerful ruby red creation brewed with honey, cherries, and Belgian yeast, reminiscent of cinnamon, clove, and allspice. We're getting the Christmas beers going, y'all.
I've had it so many times and I never like it, but cheers, bro.
Cheers.
I feel like I should just chug it.
That's cash money right there. He's really chugging the 11% beer.
That's how you get something you don't like over with. You rip the Band-Aid.
Wow. I love
What?
this.
It's actually not nearly as, I mean, I can't really taste it drinking it that way.
I really dig it. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Not as bad as I remember.
But let's talk about what's wrong with the Browns, man. Because we're coming off the Steelers just beat the Browns 20-13 in a game that, why would the Browns lose this? You got a first overall pick at quarterback. I know that you're missing Myles Garrett, but you got two super caliber wide receivers, two super caliber running backs.
Yeah.
You got a top 5 pick at cornerback, dude. And I know the answer.
Here's the thing. Like, it's the coaching, first of all, and the culture of that team in general. Mm-hmm. But you can't, I see Browns fans say, oh, we didn't have Myles Garrett, our best defender, and you saw how good he was in the first game. You cannot use an injury excuse against the Steelers.
Right.
No team can use an injury excuse against the Steelers.
And they did get some more, like Chad Thomas got hurt, Sheldon Richardson got hurt. Sure, your defensive front was banged up. But guess what? The Steelers are missing Stephon Tuitt. They're missing 4 Pro Bowlers on offense. Marquise Pouncey, Ben Roethlisberger, James Conner, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson coming back off an injury. Get out of here with that nonsense. This, to me, is just further indicative of how the Browns are just institutionally corrupt. They need someone to come from an outside organization, sort of like how Tomlin did. And Tomlin didn't come to fix the Steelers, but they brought him in he came from winning football.
Absolutely.
He had been with the Buccaneers. He came from Tony Dungy. There's some
lineage
thoughts. Exactly. He knows what the culture that you need to establish here. Freddie Kitchens was part of this culture that you're trying to eliminate. You can't do that.
And I thought it was funny when Greg Williams took over last year as interim head coach. And they did really well under him. So what do the Browns do? Nah, we don't want you.
Get out of here.
That was way too much success for us. Let's replace you with somebody else.
And a guy doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you put? What has Freddie Kitchens ever done?
I mean, it's what they said all along. Like in Dale and DK's credit, I don't remember what bandwagon you were on. I'm sorry. I thought the Browns would win the division. I'll say that. But I remember them saying specifically the coaching. You cannot bring in this many, especially with that team, the superstar cast of free agents, and expect that.
Olivier Vernon, I forgot about him.
Under no, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you forgot about him because he didn't do a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Anyway.
Let's move forward. Next, we've got the Prairie Seasick Crocodile, 6.3%. It's a sour ale with cranberry, ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg. All the Christmas flavors.
Way better than Mad Elf.
All right, cheers to that, sir.
I feel bad now.
I know. I really like Mad Elf. Hey, yo, Trogs, get your boy out here.
And I like that Mike's can bring a little piece of home back to me here. You know what I mean?
I taste the sour. Taste the sour.
It's sour for sure. A 6.3% sour is pretty high for a sour. They're usually low alcohol beers.
What's so awesome about this? Again, this is the Prairie Seasick Crocodile. Shout out to Prairie. You hit me. They smack you in the face with the sour, but then you feel that cranberry, that ginger, and cinnamon. It's just
all on the finish.
Smooth.
That's a really nice finish on that beer, dude. That's pure Christmas.
Exactly. And at first it starts off like Grinch and Scrooge Christmas, but then it comes in like, hey, just like the end of those movies. It's
well
just
done.
Like, his heart was 3 times as big. Anyways, let's talk about whose hearts are showing. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. at all
Segue.
times. My segues are on point. Y'all know me out by this time. You got Devlin Hodges at quarterback. You got Benny Snell at running back. You got B.J. Finney at center.
Yeah.
You got James Washington showing out with his first 100-yard receiving game of his career. And then we're not even talking about the defense and how great they've played.
You don't have to at this point.
Yeah.
What they've done speaks for itself. And that is kind of the beauty of this season in my eyes is that, excuse me, chugging that Mad Elf making me burp here.
It's all right.
But the beauty of it is that all these injuries have given the Steelers a live look at some of these pieces that they have to incorporate sooner than they wanted to. This is the most pure form of evaluation you can get. You can look at draft profiles and practice all day. These guys are getting thrown into the fire, and they're getting to see what they're actually made of. And there are some wins along the way. James Washington's progression right now, for me, is probably the biggest win among it. Seeing him thrust into a more starring role and actually handling it well. His combat catches, and this is funny because this is what people have talked about since he showed up as a rookie in practice. And then he would, on game day, people would be like, where's that James Washington that all the reporters are talking about? You know what I mean?
I saw you kill somebody for that on Twitter, man.
I had to.
That was hilarious, by the
Listen,
way.
don't come at us with that.
It's like, don't come for our necks.
Yeah.
But James Washington played spectacular. You had the first catch down the sideline. And the thing is that, and this is what I try to tell people, that people are like saying, oh, well, the receivers aren't getting like 10 yards of separation. You don't need 10 yards of separation in the NFL. All you need is 2, and for the quarterback to get it there, because that's the NFL standard. And I don't care if you have Devlin Hodges, Ben Roethlisberger, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees combined with Joe Montana. I don't care who you got.
It's true.
That's enough. And you need to be able to hit it, and Devlin Hodges hit it. And he didn't hit it every play, but when you give him those opportunities, you need to hit it enough. And these receivers, I've been saying this all season, they're getting open enough for those type of plays.
And I'm glad you mentioned Brady, because this is what no Steelers fan wants to hear on earth. But he's the perfect example of this, of making subpar receivers work throughout his career when you can do it. And when you get a Randy Moss, then you break every record on the planet, because he will get 10 yards of separation.
Exactly.
And then that makes Brady's job just
right. But people forget, it is so rare to get a burner like him or Tyreek Hill or even Martavis Bryant. Those type of guys don't grow on trees. And even the burners that do, they're not the guys that have the hands to win the combat catches. That's what Johnny Holden is. He's a speedster, but he's not going to win you those jump balls.
And that got really frustrating when Rudolph's main point of attack was a 50-yard chuck downfield to Holton again and again. But I had to come back to Martavis Bryant, because you guys probably saw my body language when you mentioned him. For me, that's the most disappointing Steeler of the last 10 years for me. I'll say it. I think he had everything going for him. He was honestly special, I think. I mean, and we never got to see it. Elsewhere or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
in Pittsburgh or elsewhere.
He's not in the
Never
NFL.
got to see it. Really sad.
I mean, they don't win that Bengals playoff game without that crazy
one of the
catch
best catches
on his
of all
butt.
time.
He just pins it to his butt and flips through the end
It
zone.
was ridiculous.
And that was before the Jesse James rule came into effect. So the fact that he pulled that off, you're absolutely right. I think he is my biggest disappointment of the recent Steelers era, because you saw the potential. It wasn't just that they drafted him high, because they did. He was a fourth-round wide receiver from Clemson. But the plays that we saw him make, and I mean, you saw with Landry Jones. Landry Jones could throw a slant to him, and he'd take it 80 yards.
That Cardinals catch and run, Oakland catch and run. There were so many, and it's plays that you'll only know if you've been watching the Steelers closely, because it's like his stats are not that impressive.
No.
He was suspended so much, he didn't play so much. The stats aren't there, but if you're watching him, Martavis is for me, the one that got away.
Yeah, let's talk about the next one, so that doesn't get away.
Not getting away.
Like Grist House Floodline, we're getting into our IPAs here. This is a hazy IPA that floods your senses with aromas of pineapple and tangerines and boasts a creamy mouthfeel.
That's a fact.
That will sweep you off your feet. Again,
give that guy a
this
sniff.
is the Grist House Floodline, 6.1%.
That's nice.
Ooh.
It is like the perfect smelling IPA.
Got my nose a little too wet there. That's it right there. I love me some IPAs. The way to my heart, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not emphasizing ladies. I'm saying if you want to be a good friend,
your girlfriend's on the show.
Hey, get out of here, get out of here. Tiana, I love you. You know that. But I'm saying, if there's a fan out there, if you appreciate Carter's Classroom, you come and you send me some IPAs, and I'll write whatever you want me to write.
I love it.
Anyway, This is a good beer.
It's fantastic. Kind of like the Steelers season. This is getting better as it goes, this flight for me.
This is, and let's talk about the defense. We've talked about a lot about the offense. I mean, the pass rush, 5 sacks from Baker Mayfield. Javon Hargrave. Everyone's pushing for a contract right now. Bud Dupree.
Dude, what do you do? Let's talk about that. What do you do? Because between Hargrave and Dupree has excelled more, and an edge rusher is a more high-profile position that you want to lock down.
And it is a more important position on a football team.
Absolutely. It's also a more expensive position.
Yes.
So what do you do there? Because Hargrave has been good from the jump.
Oh,
it's not like he's having a breakout year. He's just consistently doing what he does. I feel like you know what you're getting from him.
But see, that's the problem is that Hargrave, we're still seeing what we've always seen from him.
Right.
Whereas
Bud took a jump.
Right. We've never seen this. And if this is Bud, is this Bud's ceiling?
It might not be.
Is this just him finally starting to progress? And if he continues to progress, what does that do?
And I just want to shut down the line of thinking that he's playing because he knows money's on the table. Like, he obviously knows money's on the table. Like, that's a fact.
He knew money was on the table last year.
He knew money. When you're in the NFL, money is always on the table.
Exactly.
It's not like you're suddenly just super motivated. These guys come in and, like, he's a first-round draft pick. Yeah. It's not like he's hurting for money and is like, oh, man, can't pay rent if I don't go out and get 3 sacks today. You know what I mean? So he's just playing, and this is Bud Dupree. This is just the evolution. Yeah. And I know you've done several classrooms that have pointed it out. He's been close year after year. He's been close.
One or two things
putting it together.
I mean, the sack strip fumble that he had, he used a spin move to get to the inside shoulder of his man, then stopped the guard, chased after Mayfield, came back around, and then forced the fumble.
Unreal.
He used to just beat you by being explosive off the ball. Hey, am I faster than you? Yes, then I get the sack. Now he's more explosive, more technical, more physical, and he's doing all those things. And what's crazy is, still, all those things he's got going, TJ Watt's still the man.
Still the man.
And right now, he's in serious conversation, in my opinion, for defensive MVP.
I agree.
I predicted before the season started that he was going to be the team MVP.
I know. And that's holding up. That's holding up.
But I think he's doing well. But it's funny. Normally
he's doing well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
But I'm using that to get to, before we get to our last beer, Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, jeez.
Didn't have the big splash play, but I want y'all to go back and look at that last interception that Joe Hayden had.
Absolutely.
Because, and I don't know, were you in the locker room when Hayden was, were you in the press conference room when Hayden came up?
No, I was in the locker room.
So Hayden comes up to the press conference, and I asked him, talk me through the interception, because I wanted to know for sure what their call was, because I thought, and he confirmed what I saw. Steelers ran cover 3, and this is exactly what Joe Hayden said. If you read my Carter's classroom from Monday, I talked about this.
You guys need to read Carter's classroom is what we're getting at here.
Basically. But Hayden talked about they were in a zone cover 3. And in cover 3, the basic concept, Hunter, is that you got a deep corner, and a deep safety in the middle. And the key target for quarterbacks is usually those seams in between the corners and the safeties going down the middle, which Jarvis Landry is running in the seam.
Yep.
And what Minkah Fitzpatrick did, just knowingly, he just jumped it. He jumped the seam. So when Baker Mayfield, it's the end of the game, they need to make a big play, that's where he locked onto. He sees Minkah Fitzpatrick there, so he tries to fit it over him, but it was an impossible pass. He floats it too high, and Hayden makes the interception. Minkah Fitzpatrick made it happen. And then so I thought, because the first thing I saw live was Minkah Fitzpatrick running and pointing and saying, like, let's get a touchdown. But the thing was, Hunter, when I rewatched the game and I saw, like, up close, like, the camera view, he was saying the whole time, Joe, get down. We've won.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too.
I'm like, for the 23-year-old to think that way, not just to make the play, but then afterwards to be like, have the wherewithal, like this dude's a captain. This guy is the future.
They have it right now.
Everyone that said that wasn't worth the first-round pick, get out of here. Go home. Buy better Christmas gifts. Do something else. And this is just where it's at right now, is that Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think, has been the dog. He has turned the team around. So let me finish this beer before we get into talking about next week.
Dude, it's insane, though, like you mentioned, Minkah being able to be the captain. There are literally like 6 captain-worthy players on that defense right now at every level. And you talk about like Minkah's football IQ telling him to get down. Devin Bush has shown that from the jump as well, especially identifying the fumble that he recovered in the Chargers for a touchdown. Vinny Williams runs right past it. We love you, Vinny. It's not a slight at all, but you did run right past that
Yeah,
ball.
I mean, but Vince is also a key part of Vince is another leader on this team.
You see what he does.
You're absolutely right. Cam Hayward,
they just got
Joe Hayden, Minka Fitzpatrick, Devin Bush, Vince Wood.
It is loaded like we haven't seen in Pittsburgh in such a long time.
All right.
It's exciting.
Let's get loaded on our last beer.
Hey.
The Sly Fox Christmas Ale, 6.3%. It's expressive mulling spices swirl and mingle in this full-bodied red ale.
All right.
Red ales are among my favorites.
Oh, really?
I love IPAs,
right,
but I love red ales as well.
All right.
I taste the Christmas.
Oh,
I taste the Christmas. Oh,
Liquid Christmas.
Sly Fox.
You take
you've done well.
the smell of a Yankee candle store at Christmas time and distill that into a liquid.
That's kind of what that tastes
That's
like.
what this is.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah, it's the mulling spices for sure, but yeah.
we're getting closer to Christmas. The Steelers are going to Arizona.
Right.
Have you ever been to Arizona?
I have.
Have you been
Never
there?
for this job or football, but
Where were you in Arizona?
in a previous life when I covered MMA.
Oh, nice.
There were a couple big gyms there, Power MMA and MMA Lab.
Okay.
A lot of actually some champions there, Ryan Bader, Benson Henderson training out that way.
Very
And
cool.
So
All right.
we went and visited them at their gym. Mackenzie Dern was there,
Nice.
some big name. Yeah. Awesome.
All
Awesome
right.
time. I love Arizona, actually.
Have you?
Big fan.
Where in Arizona? Were you in Tucson? Were you in Phoenix?
Glendale, I want to say. Phoenix
say
and Glendale.
Glendale
yeah.
is
Yeah.
where the stadium is that they'll
Yeah.
be playing in. My uncle used to live in Glendale. I've been there twice.
Right on.
I went there once for the Super Bowl between the Seahawks and the Patriots. I didn't go to the game. I just went there for the week, and we just hung out with my uncle and just hung out and had a good time.
That's awesome.
But the first time I went there was for when the Steelers played the Cardinals in 2011. And Hunter, I'm telling you right now, be prepared for when the announcers are like, "What is this? Is this Pittsburgh West?" Because
it's like that.
it is
All right.
like that. This is an away game, but it's really going to be a home game. People, I'm telling you right now, expect when you're watching it on TV, you're going to see terrible towels.
I love it.
I don't know if they're going to do this because this was 8 years ago, but when the Cardinals were getting introduced in their own stadium, the Steelers fans held their terrible towels out like in front of their faces as if they didn't care to look at them. That was the tradition. I'm like, what is this?
Oh, that's beautiful.
And my uncle who lived out there was like, this is just what they do. There's a bar called Harold's.
Yeah.
If you go to Harold's, did you go to Harold's when you were out there? Okay, if you ever
Definitely
go back,
did not.
you have to. If you're ever in Arizona, if you're watching this from Arizona, you already know about it. But
Mike's
if you're,
Beer Bar West.
but it's basically that. Harold's is officially considered the biggest Steelers bar west of the Mississippi River.
That's ridiculous.
And
what a title.
You walk in there. I walked in there. You see Steelers pictures everywhere. You can bet on horse racing like you're Art Rooney. They got all the idols, all the trinkets, and then at the same time, you go in there and you look at the menu. They have items from the Strip District. Like they have like this is. I'm like they're that in tune. And not only that, if you're and correct me if I'm wrong for anyone who's watching this from Arizona. But my uncle told me this. He said if you wanted to watch a Steelers game there, you have to buy season tickets because it's so competitive from Steelers fans in Arizona to sit there.
That's impressive.
That it's basically like a stadium to sit there and watch the game in Harold's.
I hope.
Which is insane. So when the Steelers show up there, I think the Cardinals aren't ready. I don't think Kyler Murray's ready for what he wants to see.
Dude, I don't think so either. I mean, a rookie quarterback, you see how the Steelers perform against rookies and number one overall picks in general. I just saw a stat about that. It's not good for the number one overall pick, if you guys were wondering. And especially against a defense like this where we just talked about every level there's a game changer. Literally, and a couple
Pressure,
game changers.
run stopping, and now they have the secondary.
Dude.
And they used to never have the secondary.
Unbelievable. This is the best secondary that I've seen in my lifetime. 100%.
Well,
I don't
on the
even think
Steelers,
that's on the Steelers. It's not up for debate, I don't think.
I know,
you
there's
can
no debate.
The defense as a whole might not be the best.
Maybe.
But that secondary is that it could. The ceiling of this defense is probably the best.
This is the highest ceiling.
Absolutely.
Because again, Devin Bush is 21, Minka Fitzpatrick is 23, TJ Watt is 23, I think, or 24 maybe. But still, all the youth on this team right now, and they're among the best players on it.
And you know, we haven't mentioned his name once all episode, so I'm going to say it just because the dude deserves his due. Steven Nelson.
Oh, that man's a G.
Dude,
Steven Nelson, if you're watching this video, Nelson Island is for real.
It really is.
I mean, you were hyping him. I've been hyping him. This guy, and I said that he was going to be scrappy and the Steeler fans are going to love him.
He took a leap.
First of all, I always thought at Kansas City that he was undervalued and he was picked on for being the only like decent corner that they had, and sometimes I just put him in bad spots.
Right.
But with the Steelers now you're seeing when you have a pass rush that doesn't force you to cover for 5 minutes,
You're right.
then you can make plays as a cornerback, and that's what you're seeing. He's taking big players away.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
going after the ball. I love what I've seen out of Steven Nelson, and it's also allowed Joe Hayden to make the plays he needs to make. I mean, his 2 interceptions. It closed out the Browns, and it flipped the Rams game for them.
Right. It did.
And if that's Cody Sensabaugh, you don't get those opportunities.
Doesn't happen with him. Steven Nelson has totally changed that dynamic. So we talk about betting a little bit at Harold's Bar. Let's bet on this, Carter. The Steelers make the playoffs, yes or no?
100%. 100%. They're making it.
Go to the Rivers and put it down. I agree with you.
Put it down.
They're going to get the 6. I think they'll get the 6.
They'll get the 6, and here's why. Look at the Titans' end of the year schedule. They have to play the Texans twice in 4 games. The Texans are on the run,
right?
And the Saints.
That's a loss.
Right, exactly. But they get them at home, so they don't have to play them in New Orleans. But the Texans twice, you're at least losing you're at least losing 2 games in that span of 4. I think if the Steelers could easily go 2-2 over these last 4 games. I think that's the perfect recipe for the Steelers to be right in the mix there. That's why I have them. I think the Raiders are out. They're not going to do much because the Raiders play the Titans this weekend. And if the Raiders win, then the Titans are basically, I think they're done.
Right.
But if the Titans win and the Steelers are able to hold on against the Cardinals, it will get interesting for sure. I have the Steelers making the playoffs. Boom. I just think that their defense is too good. It'll carry them through so many road games.
I like it.
The big questions are, winning on the road is big. I think if they can beat the Cardinals, this is a must-win game this week, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Because the Bills are going to be no joke.
Absolutely.
The Jets are a wild card. It's bad. They lost to the Bengals. But
it's impressive, actually.
It's actually impressive the fact that they did lose to the Bengals. But what's funny is if the Patriots lose another of their last few games, and the Ravens win out until Week 17, the Ravens will lock up the 1 seed, and then will most likely
they won't
rest.
have anything to play for.
Right.
Right.
So, why would I play Lamar Jackson and risk him getting hurt for the playoffs, even though it's the Steelers I'm playing?
Right.
So
bet on the Steelers making the playoffs, and bet on me taking home a crowler of Grist House.
That's your growler?
Floodline IPA.
Oh, man.
Keep it local. Keep it hazy.
Man.
Listen, I'm not getting fancy today.
I'm usually an IPA guy.
I'm sticking with it.
I'm gonna go against Hunter here, and I'm going with Trogs Madel.
Don't do it to Maddie. Don't do it to
Trogs
Maddie.
Mad Sunday. This is you, buddy.
Oh no.
Trogs Madel. That was just too good.
I can feel Maddie melting out in Cannonsburg.
And you know what? I'm melting right now because that warmed me up so much. Nice. But Hunter, as always, my man.
A pleasure, my
Great
dude.
show. Thanks for watching Sports on Tap. Stay tuned for what more we have this week at DKPittsburghSports.com.